What's going on, guys and gals? Stock Jock here, finishing the first hour of trading today, up $2,422 on pretty much all on one stock. I had a news play in there as well, but let's get into the trades really quick. So my first trade is SLS. This one was my favorite stock out of the open today, mainly because of how it acted yesterday. You can kind of see in the bottom left-hand corner chart here, this thing went from, it gapped up. First off, it gapped up to like 550, and then it went as high as like 1075 yesterday. So from basically $3 to 1075 in one day is outstanding. So it's going to be on everybody's watch list that plays these low floaters, and I do that too. If a stock ran hard on that one day, it's gonna, for continuation, it's probably going to do the same thing the second day. It might not have as big of a move, but you could still bet on it at given some kind of pop. So I was kind of looking for that here on this play, and I'll walk you through it. But basically what we see right here in the 1 minute chart here in the middle of the screen is we have basically two pre-market candles that were decent, had a little bit of volume, maybe 8,000 shares, not a lot. And then we had the opening candle, which is that red candle there. And that kind of gives me an opening range. It's not a true opening range breakout play that I did here. Usually you like maybe 5 minutes of 1 minute candles that will give you a high and a low, and then you can kind of play to the break of the high out of that range after that. But I kind of played that for twofold here. So basically it was a candle over candle entry on the 1 minute chart. I saw a bunch of volume come in. You'll see my time and sales kind of in the bottom right hand corner here. You'll see it just start flashing green. So I jump in, I get a good entry, I go candle over candle. What I'm looking for is a break of 850. That half dollar will squeeze some shorts out, get some volume pumping into it, and then I want to see it break the high of just a few minutes ago, that 9:29 1 minute candle, 9:29 a.m. 1 minute candle. I just want to see it break that, and maybe all that volume will come in. So what happens is everything worked out fine. It popped up crazy good. I thought it was going to go $9. It didn't. It popped up hard and it came down hard, and I didn't like that. So I ended up selling half for a profit just to lock it in, because I did not like the move. And the second half I actually lost money on. I gave back about $50 on the trade on the second half. But we'll just go into it real quick so you can kind of see that, and I'll just walk you through it. So here I am, just kind of watching this play out here. I'm expecting volume to come in on this candle over candle. I start seeing all this volume come in, I jump in as well. It's got to be real quick. It's candle over candle. We get this huge pop up at 880, 881. All right, I'm thinking, okay, if 850 can hold, we're going to get going. Volume's starting to start pouring into this thing. I got 1,000 shares ready to sell in case weakness shows up. And the problem is weakness did show up, and it flushed out hard. Look at that. We went from 855 to 825 in about 1 second. That's a very bearish sign to me. And there you go. Little volume came into 850, sold off hard again. So this is very heavy feeling right now. So at this point, I'm just looking to get out. Profitable would be great. Not completely losing everything would be okay too. So as soon as it pops up again, I sell 1,000 shares. You'll see that right here. I sell 1,000 shares. I got a good fill, and then I'm going to check the low of this candle here. Was it closed? And if it looks like it's going to break that to go candle under candle, I'm just getting out, and I bail the rest right here just because it's starting to put some red ticks on the time and sales, and I just want to get right there. I sold the rest. I'm like, I'm out. I can come back if need be. So right here, SLS, I was looking to play it again, and you'll see me that I actually missed my entry on this. And I want to point out why I like this entry so much. So you can kind of see here, after that initial pop that I played a few minutes ago, it sold off hard, which was kind of predicted. That's why I got out. And then it bounced back up, and it bounced back up, right? And then it started to curl back down. The candle that I'm hovering over right now, that green candle, it actually went candle under candle, right? And if you're short, that's what you're looking for. After that, bear flag pole, so to speak. It went candle under candle, but it didn't flush out. It didn't push very low at all. In fact, it only went candle under candle for about 2-3 cents, and then it popped back up. So that's a very bullish sign to me. So at this point, I'm looking to play the candle over candle now, because that candle under candle did not work at all. I'm thinking, okay, this candle over candle might set this thing up to a bounce to the VWAP and bring some volume into that. So I just wanted to point out this entry right here that I actually missed. It was a little too slow on, but it worked out as well. And we'll get to my entry shortly after this in just a second. I'm watching SLS here. Just missed the entry in SLS. I gotta wait for the next pullback to go. Watching it for the break of 50. So here's my entry on SLS. This one was a pure L2 play, really. You can kind of call it maybe a candle. No, I don't even want to call it anything else. It's just pure L2, and I'm looking for a break of the 50-cent mark, that $0.50 mark, and hoping for maybe a high day push as well with some volume coming in. So what you'll see right here on the bid side of the L2 is these 400 share lots that just showed up. And what follows is when people saw that, they're saying, okay, there's some bid support here. Some people are actually putting a decent bid up there. I can get in the stock, and if it looks like it's going to fall apart, I'll just sell into that backstop, those 4,000 shares right there. So that's why a lot of times you'll see volume come in when you see a big block on the bid, or selling will come in if you see a big block on the ask. So anyway, with that bid support there, I jump in looking for this $0.50 break, which happens, and we get finally that volume that I've been anticipating coming into this and sending this thing into orbit and just making me a lot of money. But it was all because the spark that ignited this thing was, you'll see it. There's no bid really on the L2, and all of a sudden these 4,000 shares show up, and people buy big time when they see that. And I just jump in, playing that momentum, playing for that $0.50 break. Scalping it over the $0.50 was in the back of my mind if I had to get out, with maybe the forefront of my thinking, all right, we're going to go high a day and we're going to push even higher. Back in SLS, 847. Out half 907.
And I'll add over 925, because remember 925 is our breakout of the top of this box on SLS.
Well, hello there, SLS.
Fed's cash carry says surprised by extent tax cut has lifted confidence. Says unclear if tax cut will more investment, not clear if tax cut will lift long-term growth rate.
Because I think this is
So SLS obviously doing really well for me here. We broke high of day. We broke the whole dollar, the $9 range. We went all the way to $9.55. We broke that $0.50 range. This thing's just jumping all over the place, and people are getting excited. You can hear the chat rooms getting into these things now. There's multiple chat rooms jumping in, which is like thousands and thousands of people jumping into the stock now. And since I sold half, I feel more free and relaxed to play around with my second half. I already made $600 $600 in the first half, and I'm currently up 80 cents or $800 on the second half. So I can think clear. So at this point, I'm just going $0.50 and whole dollar is my thinking for selling the second half. So like right now, if it looks like $9 is gonna sell off, break, I'm gonna just sell and get out and take my 50 cents, my $500 and get out. And so that's kind of what my thinking is. I can't go wrong here unless for some reason I held and lost money on this, which would be ridiculous of me at this point. But again, I always like to lock in half and let, if I want to play around with the second half, I can, and I could be more free to do that because, like I said, I've already made $600 on this. Everything else is gravy, So that's what I like to do in these situations.
Gonna catch
Comments
a
from
little bit of
Fed's cash
excitement
rate.
here from traders.
Deal reporter says PAY, Verifone,
Got my order on SLS to
may
add
be getting
here.
an investment from Elliott. That's
So
Papa Alpha
scalp over
Yankee.
$10. So the high of that candle right now is 75. So over 75 is a possible add.
Out the rest,
SPOT,
951.
Spotify, indicating $160 on 100,000, not close to opening as of yet.
So this next trade is just a news play on Qualcomm. Benzinga reports that there's chat room chatter that Third Point is taking a activist stake in QCOM Qualcomm, and when I hear that, I flip over to it. It hasn't moved that much. I jump in, so it's basically only moved about 16 cents from when this news came out, which is not a lot. So I jump in, scalp it for a quick move, get out.
Chatter that Third Point is taking a big activist stake. That's unconfirmed chatter being circulated now in chat room.
Qualcomm chatter, Third Point's taking a big activist stake.
Quebec Charlie Oscar Michael.
Activist chatter on QCOM that Third Point's taking an activist stake in Qualcomm. So my next trade is MYND, and this one had just halted. This is a very unique stock. The stock never has volume, like ever. Like if you look there in the bottom left-hand corner, the past 3 months, the most volume it's ever had in the past 3 months was 50,000 shares of volume in one day. Not a lot of volume. Today, almost 400,000 shares. They had some news out, private placement that they had for around $2, and a lot of times that can set a stock off. So anyway, this one halted on a circuit breaker, and the circuit breaker was on very low volume. You can kind of see right there. It was only 40,000 shares, and it was only a 30-cent move that tripped this thing to a circuit breaker. And a lot of people love circuit breaker plays. So I don't like playing stocks out of a circuit breaker. I do from time to time. I'll play them, but usually it's just too much risk, and I can make money other ways without risking crazy amounts of risk, so to speak, without risking taking these huge risks. So what happens here is you'll see as it opens up and I go long, what I'm looking for is just which direction is this thing going to go. I see flashes of green in my time of sales. It tells me people are buying the ask, so I take 1,000 shares. I'm up almost $2,000 today at this point, so I'm willing to take this kind of risk. If I was only up $100 on the day, I would not be taking this risk. And even up $2,000, I'm only risking 1,000 shares instead of my normal 2,000 shares. So I go long, looking for the break a high day, which is $3. I get a really good entry at $2.75. It pops up, comes back down, and I start to sell when it shows weakness. And my entry and exit end up being the exact same. So I lose basically commissions on this trade. I'm actually shocked that I got out at the exact same price I got in at, even at the down to the penny. So it's just a frustrating trade. I thought I would make money on it. It didn't work out. No big deal.
Always like to see these dip, but they don't always.
I'm in at 275.
Long at 75. Risk
Out at dead break. How is that possible?
And I would add $3. So watching right now.
This next trade is ITUS. This one is a news play. And this one I just so happened to beat the major news broadcasters with because of certain people that I follow on social media. A lot of times these people, they watch different things very closely. One of the guys I follow, he watches patent news very closely. He It reports ITUS with a patent, and you know, in the grand scheme of things, patent news is very weak news. Like, it should be no one cares kind of news, but a lot of times it'll pop a stock, especially these low float stocks, and you can expect maybe 10-15 cents out of a patent play usually. Occasionally patents will send stocks into orbit for no reason, and that will happen occasionally, but for the most part you can expect 10, 15, 20 cents out of a patent release, news release. So that's what happens here. I actually see the news on social media first. I get in, you hear Benzinga call it out, then the Benzinga folks get into it, and at that time, the time is ticking. News is out there. It's been eaten up by everybody. All the consumers are hearing it, and it's played out. And now the stock is going to sell off. And I get in. I'm only risking 1,000 shares. It doesn't get the move that I was hoping for, or at least I wasn't in it when it did make that move. You can kind of see here it went from like 413 to 433. Just didn't make any money on it. Couldn't get a good exit. So at that point, I'm looking to exit at the highest point I can to minimize my loss, and that you'll see me do that here. So as the bid goes up, it starts to get hit, and then when the bid starts to tick down, I sell.
That it would pop a little more, and it didn't. So I'm stopping out. Only added $500 stop.
ITUS patent news.
Thing is, see how fast that can go back down to 16. That's why
I'm in at 424 for this little bit of patent news. Small position.
30 is the next best bid. I knew that I had to take the bid and
ITUS,
sell on the bid.
India Tango Uniform Sandy.
Starting to hit Benzinga now.
Report of U.S. patent
That was the first candle
for
to make a new
cancer
high,
diagnosis.
valid setup, and it double topped basically at high a day. So it didn't give us that big breakout that we were
That's
looking for.
being
Still, it
circulated now by traders. India Tango Form Sandy.
Kind of stalled out here on ITUS. Stop loss will be if it starts to head back south.
ITUS getting the pop now.
Shares of ITUS.
All right, all out minus
Hit a high of
50 bucks on that
434,
one.
Now at 420 on that patent report being circulated now by traders.
So this next trade is SLS again. This is my last trade that I take all day actually, and this is one of my favorite plays, the 5-minute play I call it. And you see here in the top left hand corner the 5-minute chart. So what the 5-minute play is after a stock has ripped and set in its high, at some point it's got to pull back. So what I'd like to do is watch the 5-minute chart, let it make its high, and then I watch the pullback. And after the pullback happens, at some point one of these candles will go candle over candle, and that is my buy spot. I will buy in when the candle goes candle over candle after the pullback. So the order of operations is it has to have a pretty significant pop, it has to have a decent pullback, preferably at or above the VWAP, and then I look for candle over candle. So if you kind of see it here on the 1-minute chart, it kind of correlates to the 1-minute chart here as well. The break of the VWAP would set this thing off, which correlates with the 5-minute candle over candle play here. So as it looks to break, I guess that's 962 somewhere in there. You'll see all this volume come in. That's other people playing the same thing. I go long. I get an entry of around 960, I guess. Pops up. I still have to lock in gains. I'm looking for a $10 break. It doesn't look like it's going to come, so I end up selling the rest and making bank. So we're just watching it right here, waiting for it to come on, just being real patient. See the volume start to come in, I buy, looking for it to pop up. I was a little early, but that's okay. As soon as it got even closer to that 5-minute play, the candle over candle, you saw all that volume come in, so being early was okay. I sell half, and then I sell the rest for profit as it looks like it's just going to come back down on me. So locked in another $600 or so on that trade. Very, very happy with it. You know, the stock did end up ripping even higher later on, but you know, whatever. That play, that strategy worked out perfectly. You can see right here, testing $10, going over $10. But you know, I made my play very specific for that moment, that scalp. I got 28 cents, you know, on 2,000 shares. Who doesn't want to do that in a matter of 9 seconds on the, or 11 seconds on the first lot? And what is that, 16 seconds on the second lot? I mean, they'll do that all day long. So that brought me to $2,422 on the day. Very nice trading. I thought we would see some momentum in these stocks, these low floaters, come, you know, April, just because it's the beginning of the new quarter. And so far it's been played out nicely with SLS, at least. I'm looking at SLS for tomorrow, just because we did go candle over candle on this crazy day. So maybe this thing's got one more day of crazy moves in it. I don't know. We'll see. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more momentum in these low floaters going into the rest of the week and into next week as well, because we have been in a drought, that's for sure. So if you have any questions about my trading style, please feel free to come into my free Discord chat. Link for that is in the description down below. Got a lot of good traders in there willing to answer questions. I'm on mic, so I call out what I see throughout the day. There's other shot callers in there. I call them other elite traders that are calling out what they see in their trades as well. And also, if you're interested in the chat rooms or the news subscriptions that I subscribe to personally, those are linked down in the description down below. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video.